the meat of our meetings, which are, of course, our speeches. So our first speaker, giving speech number 9 from the Confident Communication Manual, How to Persuade with Power. Tim's speech is a journey of 1,000 miles. Are you accomplishing your goals? Have you started? Tim confronts conventional wisdom that we are all taught when we are young, and why it sometimes keeps us from starting our goals. Giving his 9th speech, please welcome Toastmaster Tim Taylor.
Morning, Toastmasters.
Morning, Tim. Morning.
A journey of 1,000 miles. Finish the sentence for me. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. Well, that's what we're all taught. Did you said well. Let me tell you that you're wrong. You're totally wrong. Without being too verbose, let me ask you, do you have goals in your life? Do you have specific things that you're trying to achieve? 85% of people do not start things out of fear of failure. Fear of failure is what stops 85% of people from accomplishing their goals. Is it okay to fail? Yes. Repeat after me. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. That's a contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are we taught? Anything worth doing is worth doing right. You learn that, your dad tells you that when you're out cutting the yard. Son, anything worth doing is worth doing right. That's true if you know how to do it. That's true. What I mean, anything worth doing is worth doing badly until you get it right. When you start a goal, are you going to be good at it at the beginning? No, you're not. I'll bet when Carmelo Bellardo, Mark Ahlers, Gordon Camper, Shayla Dower, Catherine Mills-Rubillet, or Kate Adams first gave their speeches in this group, were they great? Maybe Kate. They did not have command of the forum. They did not have mastery of the audience. They did not have confidence. They did not have depth. Whatever it was, they didn't have it. They didn't have it. What did they have? Desire to be great. Desire to get started. What did they do? They gave their ice cream. They started. The late Zig Ziglar, one of my favorites, said you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. We tell ourselves, I'll start my business when. I'll do this when. When I get the right car, when I get the right job, when I get the right girlfriend, when I get the right guy in my life. That's when I'll get started. That's when I'll get started. Let me tell you about somebody who didn't wait till he was great to get started. This is one of our political leaders. At 23, he lost his job. He also was defeated for state legislature. At 24, he failed in business. At 26, his girlfriend died. At 27, he had a nervous breakdown. At 29, he was defeated for Speaker of the state legislature. At 34, he was defeated for nomination for Congress. At 39, he was again defeated for the nomination. At 40, he was rejected for land officer. At 45, he was defeated for Senate. At 47, he was defeated for nomination for Vice President. At 49, he was again defeated for Senate. At 51, he was elected the 16th President. That is Abraham Lincoln. Did you think he waited until he got good to start? No, he didn't. What areas of your life are you waiting to start? My own story was I worked for a large company for 13 years. I left and started to work for a very small company. It was just me and the owner. I quickly realized why about 25 different people had worked for him over the last 5 years. The guy, no one could work with this guy. When I came in, there was just me and him. It was the worst year of my life, but it was also the best year of my life. He never paid me what he promised, and every month I felt like I was falling farther and farther behind. And he was constantly telling me I was doing a bad job. I finally got so frustrated I felt like Popeye the Sailor Man. Who's seen Popeye the Sailor Man? All right. One of my favorite cartoons as a kid. Popeye would always get into some kind of fix, and usually with Brutus, while his girlfriend Olive Oyl watched on. And he would finally say Say it with me if you know it. I've had all I can stand. I can't stand no more. I love that statement. Then he would grab a can of spinach and he would squeeze it so hard that the top would pop off, the spinach would fly up in the air, go right into his mouth, and then what happened next? His arms grew about 10 times their normal size, right? And he fights his way out of the jam that he was in. That is exactly what I felt like. I reached that point one day and I broke out on my own. I remember telling my wife, I don't care if I had to dig ditches. I cannot take this anymore. I had 3 kids. I had a mortgage. I had 2 car payments. And I had $500 in the bank. And I said, I'm going to create the best IT company in Central Florida. The important thing was not that I was ready. It was not that I was a good businessman. I'd worked in the nonprofit world for the previous 13 years. Did I understand anything about profit? In 1999, I couldn't spell General Ledger. The internet was basically not even invented. Cell phones were not generally used. I had a pager. I drove a Buick Park Avenue that had 100,000 miles on it that my mother had given me after my dad passed away. I'd worked with a nonprofit for 8 years since I moved to Orlando. I didn't know one single business person or businessman or businesswoman in this town. I didn't have a single relative within 900 miles. No one was here to help me. Was it the perfect time to start a business? No. I didn't know what Active Directory, SQL Server, Exchange Server, TCP/IP, or what a firewall was. Don't worry if you don't know what those things are yet. I do know what they are now. Did I make plenty of mistakes? Did I make mistakes? Yes, plenty of them. When I ask you this question, I want everyone to say no. Did I let my mistakes stop me? No. When 2 of my employees left and stole half of my business during the middle of the recession, did that stop me? No. My friend, the attorney, his name was Mark, sorry Mark, kept imploring me not to sue the guys that stole half my business. A few months later, he dropped me and started working with them. No. That, my friends, almost killed me. Because he was a good friend. Did that stop me? No. One of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill is, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Nice. That's a good one. Another is, success is not final, failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that counts. I've now been in business for 20 years. I personally have sold $25 million worth of goods and services. An old Chinese proverb says, man who says it cannot be done should not interrupt a man doing it. One of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill is, never, never, never give up. Ladies and gentlemen, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What are you waiting for? Mr. Costa.